Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to go through some quick tips on how to defeat Yetuga, who is kind of the first main boss that you'll come across when playing the First Berserker Khazan. So given this is still pretty early game, I'll try and go through some of the beginner tips if you're still kind of in that point where you're familiarizing yourself with the mechanics of the gameplay and whatnot, and then also just generally talking about completing the boss fight itself. So if you are struggling to get past this point and progress further, hopefully this video will help you out. Alright, so first off, again, just kind of quickly going through some of the beginner stuff if you maybe overlooked some of this. First off, make sure that you have your best gear equipped. So you've obviously defeated some enemies along the way to get to this point, and some of them have probably dropped some new armor or weapons that you can use. So just make sure that you've gone into your gear. If you got a new weapon, looking at the stats there, you can see them all on the right and in the middle with each item. You kind of compare those and make sure that you've got your best weapon equipped, and if you've picked up any armor, make sure you've got all that equipped. If you've picked up any accessories, you can add that as well. And then also, if you have any of like these hotkey items, so I have a couple here that I've equipped, you can find those in your inventory. So if you have, I mean, I didn't do this during the fight, but you have some consumable items like this that you could potentially use in the fight. If you want to add that to a hotkey, for me it's X, you can then add that to one of your, it's kind of like your belt, I guess. So you can add those. For example, the Soul Tear Dust, that's kind of an extra health potion in a way. As you can see, it restores 300 health. So potentially, I mean, you could use those during the fight. You'd have an extra, I have 3 of them, so that's an extra 900 health. Those are one-time use though, but just kind of keeping that in mind. And then you can see down in the bottom left corner, I can switch between those to use them when I need them. So one thing you will notice, it seems by default that this UI isn't set up this way. You can see my items in the left and my health bar is up right now. That will disappear by default, it seems like. So if you go into the accessibility, you can turn all that stuff on so it's on all the time. That's just kind of personal preference, but I like to have that visually. So that's one thing. Another important thing to keep in mind with this game, which I think is kind of unique to this genre, is that you will accrue lacrima, if I'm pronouncing that right, after each boss attempt, even if you fail. So this is the upgrade currency of the game, kind of similar to like runes in Elden Ring if you played that. So worst case, you could just do the boss fight over and over and over, constantly accruing more lacrima after each attempt until you get to a point where you can just level up your character until you're strong enough to do it. That's not really ideal and probably would take some time. But I personally did take advantage of this. After a few attempts, I had enough additional lacrima to upgrade to my next level and get some more stat points. So you do have to go back. Every time you die, you have to go back and collect all of your previous lacrima. So make sure you do that, but then you can go back and upgrade. So you can see my stats here. At this point in the game, I just kind of been evenly distributing them across all the attributes, but kind of personal preference on what you want to do there. Okay, so now getting into the actual fight here, I'll show the footage where I beat him, but I'm also going to splice in some additional examples from other attempts just to kind of demonstrate his primary moves and just overall explain what I'm doing. So starting off with how to handle his attacks, you have 2 options. First, you can guard or parry his attacks, which is going to deplete his fortitude bar. That's the purple line right below his health. So once that is fully depleted, that's going to allow you to do a brutal attack, which does a ton of damage, and that'll be indicated by this red circle icon. And then you can also dodge as well. So as you play and you start to do boss attempts and learn their moves and things like that, you'll realize that some of their attacks are better to be handled with dodges and others with guards. And from what I can tell, there are certain attacks that can only be avoided by using dodges. For example, like grab attacks and things like that. So if you try and guard in those situations, it just won't work at all. In terms of your offensive attacks, you've got what is essentially a light attack, which is called a swift attack in this game, and then you've got a heavy attack called a potent blow, which can also be charged for kind of a charged heavy attack. And then also you have the brutal attack, which you can do after exhausting the enemy's fortitude bar, which we just looked at. So if you are trying to kind of focus on depleting that fortitude bar or the stamina bar of enemies, try and get in as many of those charged potent blows as you can, as it's really effective as that for that. And then also another thing that's kind of important to call out is that attacking enemies on their back is going to be significantly more effective than the front. So if you take a look at this example here where I do a brutal attack from the front, it does about 600, 700 damage. And then here I do another brutal attack in a different attempt from the back, and that does 900 and almost 1200 damage. Okay, so now back to the fight. I'll try and provide some commentary here, putting this all together, and then I've got a couple other specific callouts as well. But starting off, going into the fight, he seems to always open with this exact same move, which is this 2-hit combo, as you see here. That can be pretty easy to guard once you learn the timing of it, and then allows for a follow-up attack, so that's usually how I opened every single time. He's got a couple other combos that he likes to use quite a bit too. Here's a 4-hit combo, which again, once you get the timing right, opportunity for guarding and then a follow-up attack. And then he's also has a kind of a similar one, which is a 5-hit combo, as you'll see here, where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. You can kind of tell the difference between the 4 and the 5 by looking at his arm. So going back to that, for the 4-hit combo, he'll start with his right arm, as you see there, and that's going to be the 4-hit combo. And then if we take a look at the 5-hit combo, he's going to use his opposite arm, which is his left arm, and then you know it's going to be the 5-hit. So those are kind of the main combos that you'll need to watch out for. And then he's got a couple other random attacks that you'll need to watch out for too. So he throws kind of a snowball thing. You can dodge out of the way. Comes back in with that 2-hit combo, which again you can guard and follow up with an attack. He's got this slam attack that you'll need to watch out for as well. But really just kind of waiting to see what he throws at me. So here he comes back with that 4-hit combo again. Guard all those attacks. Again, opportunity to follow that up with some charged attacks or whatnot to get in some damage there. This attack, he kind of backs up and does a slam with his fist. You can see it gets stuck in the snow, so keep an eye out for that as he gets stuck for a while so you can get in some free attacks there. There's another snowball, but this next attack here, you can see he does that. It's kind of like a diving grab attack as I dodge out of the way. Here I try and guard that. I don't think you can avoid that with a guard. As you can see, he just kind of goes straight through that. So if you do see that, going back to the first example, I dodge instead to avoid that. And then this is where the back attacks start coming into play. So you can see I hit him in the back there for some nice additional damage. And then this is another really important aspect of this fight, is being able to break those icicles off of his back and head as well. As you see, that kind of incapacitates him for a little bit on the ground, and you can get some hits as well as a really nice big damage chunk. I'm not exactly sure on the specific hitbox of doing that. You can see here I hit him in the front as well in this fight. It still looked like it was kind of a headshot, and that was enough to break off those icicles and do the same thing and knock him out on the ground there. But I think if you kind of focus on back attacks as well as when he does that back slam, that's a really good opportunity to hit him in the back of the head there to break off those icicles. So just try and be aware of that, as that is a nice damage dump that you can do. Then gets back up, and by this point, kind of nice timing, his fortitude bar was almost depleted, so then I could also follow that up with a brutal attack to do some even more damage. So that's kind of enough to get him into a second phase. You'll know that happens when he does this attack here, where he picks up this big ice chunk and slams it down on you. Here's maybe a better look at that attack from further away so you can see what it looks like. I was trying to dodge this attack and I didn't have any success doing that, so I just would guard this, as you can see there. I'm not sure if you can dodge it. But he will follow that up immediately with another grab attack, so be prepared for that as well, which you see I wasn't. And then finally, his kind of third attack in this second phase is to do this icicle attack, which is like an area of effect that can do quite a bit of damage. So if you do see that, be prepared for that. And the best way to handle that is just to immediately start kind of circling around him, as you can see I do here. He'll kind of just be standing there, so that's a good opportunity for some back attacks, and you can just completely avoid all the icicles. So really good opportunity for damage there. And then the final attack that we haven't really seen yet is this charge attack that he'll do, where he'll run at you and then he'll basically just slam into the opposite wall, which he's doing right here. So you can dodge out of that pretty easily. And then again, another opportunity for some good back attacks. And by this point, pretty much he's almost gone. It's got a little bit of fortitude left in his bar, so take care of that and do another brutal attack, which should be pretty close to enough to defeat him, and then just kind of finish things up. So finally, kind of taking care of business here, but the other thing I didn't touch on was your stamina bar. You can see that below my health bar. Just keeping an eye on that. You don't want to deplete that, otherwise you will get exhausted and kind of get paralyzed for a couple seconds. So you do need to manage your stamina bar throughout all that as well. And then you've got your health potions and things like that. But that's kind of a rundown of the boss fight, as you can see going into the cutscene here. So I'll leave you with that. Hopefully this helps you out and gets through this boss fight and onto the next portion of the game. So thanks for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.